It's Friday, then we going live again. So get your snorkels out and let me see some skits. Smoke ties, not drugs, what we teach the kids. I candy man, castrate that rapper. Middle finger to the sky, scream fuck. Rap the big cops trying to get me going state to state. Blowing ties off the rim that them haters hate.
All right, here we go, guys. Back with another podcast. Been absolutely pumping them out, and I thought I'd use this opportunity while my boy Jose is over from the States here, Smokey Bakery. He's over here, and I said, jump in the pod because every time we chat, there's some wild stories. And yeah, living on the other side of the world to us, it's pretty different. And I guess the funny thing is, I think I started messaging you. I think we're at SEMA the same year in like
2018.
2018.
I remember because you were like, "Yo, let's go do some street stuff," and I was like, "I can't."
Yeah, that's right. And because obviously I love GDOs, and then that video popped off where you and was it Sea Bear stunts with like drifting out in like Nevada somewhere.
Yep.
And everyone was tagging me in it. I was like, "Fuck!" While I'm over here, got to go link. But then I think you normally pack up pretty quick and start driving back after it. So
yeah, so right after that video, we actually was hungover because we were out till I want to say like 6 in the morning, and it was 8 in the morning. Seabear wanted to film again, and I just didn't want to do it because I was hungover, and I ended up doing it, sent it right over the curb, and wrecked it.
Really?
Yep. So we packed it up and sent it home. I let Louis go out there and burn the rest of the tires off, and I was like, pack it up, we'll take it home.
You didn't post that though, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you?
Yep. I nearly hit a telephone post. I don't recommend anybody driving on the street, but I nearly hit a telephone post and fucking sent it right over the curb.
Well, that's the first time I've seen it all, and we were messaging each other and said, let's stay in contact when I go over there next, or you come over here. And fast forward 5 years later, we've been lucky enough to catch up a few times, do some cool stuff together. We're slowly introducing him to the Aussie way with Summer Nats and Australia Day. You've probably come over for the best Australia experiences, I'd say.
Yeah, it was a blast yesterday. It was. No one really, I don't know if they'll see this before they see the videos, but it was a blast.
No, they will. It was, that was absolutely nuts. But it's funny. So just to give some context to some of the people watching that haven't seen your stuff, obviously you're a wild driver. You've got a drift GTO behind us, and you love the Aussie car scene. Like,
yep.
Would you say you like it more than like the car scene in the States? When I'm not talking about the scene, but the cars, like compared to say like they all love like Scats and ZL1s and that.
We always want something we can't have. So you guys, all we got was like for our cars, we got the Chevy SS, which is like the base VF SS. They all came with sunroofs. Maybe like a handful came with no sunroofs. So all we got was the V8 version of that. We got the VE, we got the V6 version and the V8 version, but just an SS, no like HSV versions, obviously. So when everybody in the States sees it over here, they want it because it's so rare, and it's so cool to me as well. I think you had posted that teal, it was a VF, maybe a Maloo, with your dirt bike in the back.
Yeah.
And that's when I first seen one, and I was like, fuck, I want an El Camino. I was like, El Camino. I was like, what is that thing? So yeah, that's what kind of got me going on those things, was when I first seen that.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because, some of the prices you tell me, like what did you find, like a burnt out VF Maloo? Or it was just a shell almost.
It's a stat write-off. It's actually still for sale. No motor, no box. Maloo, stat write-off, and they want $40,000 in the U.S. just because it's already in the U.S.
And then
that's American dollars, not Australian.
40,000 US, and then we'd buy one for 50 AUD, perfectly good. But then it's like when you see people paying 250, 350, 400K for like a demon.
Yeah,
it's like.
It's insane. It's insane to us because it's also in Australian dollars. But at the end of the day, when you put it kind of for like the American cars, it ends up being about the same with $1 difference,
Well, we got that luxury car tax, so we just can't get around that. It's just such a huge percentage. That's why, I remember when we first started talking and I bought that SS Camaro for 100K and it was just an SS and you were like,
what are you doing, bro? There's no one.
But like you said, we pay a premium to have something that others don't have. So, but it was funny because you touched on it earlier about not recommending some of the street stuff. And when I followed you previously, early days, it looked like you were heaps more into the street scene.
So back in like 2000, I want to say 2011, maybe 2010, I was heavily involved in like sideshows, which you guys know as takeovers. So Northern California, we call it sideshows. Southern California calls it takeovers. I was heavily involved in it, and obviously it's not what you see on the TV nowadays. Nowadays, a lot of stolen cars. People like to hit other people. They catch everything on fire. Back in the day, it was you take your pride and joy. You go out there with the boys, 1, 2 in the morning, Not really even stop in traffic because who's out 2 in the morning? Go to an intersection, have your fun. If people were smacking your car with like their hand, people would get mad, tell them to get back. Nowadays, it's just totally different. So it's insane. I think these kids out there, they're pretty ruthless, They don't understand the consequences or they don't care and they just go for it. And
But like these scenes that I see go viral on the takeover pages and that, they're that crazy. Like it looks like it's some third world country with no police. Like these guys are like just driving like stolen cars, blowing the tires off, running over people, smacking, shooting fireworks at each other, shooting people. Like that clip you sent me, he jumped out with it looked like some sort of assault rifle.
it was an AK.
AK, just, obviously they've had an argument or they got some beef, but whatever, just pulls out AK and, that's like, if that was a one-off thing that happened, I could imagine like maybe it just was this ginormous takeover that got out of control, but it's just one after another. And it's like, why, how come it's gone from the boys taking their pride and joys out to like this absolute, like, it's like a little battlefield now. Like it's,
I think because now it's all these kids on social media. And I shouldn't even say kids, they're young adults at the end of the day, They're out there and they bought these devices that are easy to steal cars with. And they're just taking something real quick. They could take for a joyride, go have their fun with it, destroy it, and it doesn't bother them any because it's not hurting their pockets in any way,
I think they've just started that in Melbourne now because
so I was following a page, it's like Melbourne, Victoria stolen cars, and it's like
every
crazy.
VF.
Yeah, it's insane.
So, but I guess you'd say then the main difference too is now the takeovers and sideshows has gone from more car enthusiasts to criminals.
I wouldn't necessarily say criminals because at the end of the day, they're probably young adults who want something but can't have it and want to go have fun in it. So their easiest way is just to go steal one.
Yep.
Which I'm not going to say that's a good thing to be doing because I can't condone any thieves or anything like that. And I wouldn't want my shit to get stolen and it be out there either. So
But they're purely just doing it because
they're just doing
they're
it.
obsessed with cars and they just can't. Yeah. But I mean, some of the stuff, like some of the like the guns and the fights and the violence is like, it's fucking nuts. They must all be hammered or high or like to pull guns on people.
High, of course. But in America, you have to remember about 80% of the population has a gun on them. Whether it's just a regular person walking around in public, when they're trying to defend themselves, whether they have a concealed carry or not, 80% of the public has a gun. Your average 16, 17-year-old kid, you have to just keep in mind that they might have a gun, You never know who's going to have a gun and who doesn't. So, like, here in Australia, like, I'm at the light, hungover, and the light turns green, somebody's already on their horn. I'm like, yo, what is going on, And in America, I think if you do that, you're going to get yourself into an altercation, which might revolve in somebody getting shot because they possibly might have a gun,
So, a lot of in America, people just they really avoid an altercation because of how much it can blow out. They don't even take the risk. It's like a lot of the times you just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. That's how I feel also, but I also feel like a lot of the people, they let their ego get in the way. For myself at least, at the end of the day, I always remember I have a kid to go home to. I can look like a pussy or whatever it is, I don't care to get in a fight. I don't have beef with nobody back at home. I don't really feel like I have to watch my back because I don't feel like I'd stir any beef up with anybody. So, and I just always keep in mind, I have my kid to go back home to. I still live in the ghetto. I live in South Vallejo, which is the hood back home. They have the sideshows Literally, I've showed you the videos from my roof right at the corner at M&M Liquor. And I've showed you the videos. Remember last time I came, I was with you and Adrian. I was showing you guys the cars all on fire.
Burning, yeah. It's nuts. It's man, if I didn't see the videos, I wouldn't believe the stuff that you tell me. Like it's so far out of ever happening here. Guys, just quickly, huge shout out to my sponsors, Livco. They are the only hats you'll see me wearing. They are the best fit. They've got heaps of different colours. And if you like me and got a bit of a big head, they've got all sizes catered. I have a discount code, Candy. There's a link in the description. Check it out. Jump on their website. Support them. They support me. This is why I can afford to keep putting time and money into doing these podcasts and vlogs. Cheers, guys. Like, you know, if someone breaks traction here, they'll get their car on a tow truck and they'll lose their license. They'll be in court and the car will be gone. And it's like, then you see where you are. It's like they just block off traffic to overtake the intersection. No one can go through, and it's pretty wild because, yeah, I mean, it's scary, especially for someone like yourself who's a car enthusiast. You don't want to get labelled all the same by the police that just think they're all the same. They're all like running an absolute mark. But then the other thing is like you risk, you know, you always have to make sure your cars are like hidden and locked up and safe, and you know, because I'm guessing if it gets stolen, you call the police. Yeah,
they're not police. They don't really
like.
care.
What are they gonna do? There's probably a million getting stolen.
What they're gonna think is he's just another one of these kids. Who cares? You know.
Yeah.
And
you were even telling me like insurance was starting to like.
Yeah, a lot of insurance companies are pulling away from California because it's too many claims of stolen cars. I mean, they're pulling away from housing, even housing insurance. You've seen all the fires. They pulled away like supposedly like a week before, and then all the fires happened. You know, which is kind of crazy.
That is nuts. But I mean, how can you afford to insure so many people if you're getting so many claims? Like,
no, 100%, and I get it. It's California has gone. I mean, I would say that like with crime rates, it's gone crazy since since those devices came out that they've been stealing cars with. You know, because they're stealing anything that's push to start, anything, whether it's a Honda, what we call a truck, you know, like a 2500 GMC. They're taking anything that's push to start. These kids are taking, and I mean, it's easy for them to go spend $500-600 on Amazon. The device arrives at your door, and then they go on their way. If they need a ride real quick, why pay for an Uber when you can take a truck? You know.
And then I guess getting back to the guns, we've had some chats because it's like this, it's always this topic where it's like the whole of the world is against America. Like every comment you see from every other country is like, you guys are idiots. That's why your schools get shot up. That's why everyone's shooting each other. But then you make a very good point where you say, you can't take away the guns because all it's going to do is take away all the people that are legally defending themselves and leave all the criminals with the guns.
100%. A criminal is going to be a criminal no matter what. They're going to find a way to get a gun no matter what. Nowadays, they sell these things called 80%ers, which you can buy, and they'll sell you a jig. You drill it out, and you'll have a ghost gun. It's called a ghost gun because it has no serial numbers. You can buy that, and it'll get delivered to your house, you know. So these criminals...
And then you just put the trigger in and
stuff. Put the trigger in. It takes like 5 minutes, and you'll be back on your way, you know, ready to go. So the criminals are going to have guns no matter what. So if you take away guns from a country like that right now, you're going to take away guns from the general public that's legally trying to defend themselves.
And they won't do an illegal way to keep a gun. They'll just be unarmed. Yeah,
they'd be unarmed. They'd be worried for their life. Because what are you going to do if somebody comes into your house? Like here in Australia, what would you do if somebody came in your house with a gun?
Fuck, what can you do? You just got to sit there and say, take everything, fucking, like, it's fucked.
It's kind of tough because...
There is criminals here with guns, but I mean, pulling a gun out in Australia, like, that's some serious jail time. Like,
yeah.
I feel like you guys have got some, like, if someone broke in and then we shot them, like, we'd still go to jail for, like, you guys at least got some leeway to, like, some sort of use for a gun. Like, here, I don't know any cases where someone shot someone and it's been okay.
In America, you're still going to, if they break in and the person is has their back turned towards you and you shoot them in the back, you can go to jail because they were trying to run away is what they'll say.
Yeah.
If that person, you have to pretty much prove that the person's trying to harm you with a deadly weapon in order for it to be justifiable to, you know, that you shot this person.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way I see it is I have a 7-year-old in the house. I have my girl in the house. she knows how to use a gun, you know. And all my guns are legal.
What do you just do? Just go target practice or?
Yeah, you go to
how
the
does-
shooting range.
Yeah.
You know, we have shooting ranges you can go shoot and go make sure the guns are, you know, obviously still working.
Yeah,
Get
because you
them-
don't just have normal pistols. Like you got rifles and stuff.
Well, yeah, I have an AR-15 and then like 4 pistols, you know.
That's crazy, bro. That is crazy.
But it's in America, it's completely normal, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you were to see my gun, some people in like other states other than California would be like, "Oh, dude, he's in California because California is restricted. We can't have certain guns."
Yeah.
So,
oh, okay. So you can't
Like
walk
our
around with a bazooka.
AR-15. No, no. Just imagine, no, that'd be crazy. Just some whistling diesel with a bazooka. But yeah, no, California's pretty strict. Like even with the car laws, they're pretty strict. But you have to find that cop that's going to be a dickhead that'll pull you over and grill you for like I drive the GTO on the street, and everyone back at home. Well, I wouldn't say everyone. Some people would be like, "You're an idiot. That's not a street car." I take it as a street car because I built that car. Whenever I see like FD cars, Formula Drift cars, I used to be like, man, they're cool. Like, but do they go on the street? You know, they don't.
Yeah, you can't relate to them. So it's like, I see that sometimes when I see really crazy show cars. Like, even at Summer Nats, that top 60 haul was insane. Like, you know, when they got the mirrors under the cars and they got the whole chrome, like, polished chassis and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. But, like, if I saw him driving on the road, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, it's like a whole different. I could definitely relate to that. Like,
I just want to drive my car and enjoy it, pretty much. My dad's always been big on that because my dad's into the lowrider scene.
yep.
And obviously he goes out and he sees all these cars that are fully painted underneath, you know, fully chromed, murals and whatnot underneath. And he's like, I'll paint the bottom of my car. Do I care to put chrome on it? I don't care to clean it, so I'd rather just drive and enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. That's nuts. I actually didn't know your old boy was into cars. Is that where you reckon you got
So
the love for cars?
my dad had me at about 16 years old.
Yeah.
Dad
Oh
and mom,
shit.
16 years old. He's always been into lowriders. He's like super diehard lowrider.
Yeah.
He probably took me to do my first donut.
Really?
Yep. In a 1996 Impala, big boat. He was like, "You want to learn how to do a donut?" And
Oh, you drove?
no, he did it. He did
Oh.
it first, you know, and he did them out of control donuts.
Yeah.
But his friends always had muscle cars, and they would always do donuts, and it got me hooked.
You were just like, I need to get into this.
Yeah. Well, you just like when living in I used to live in Richmond, California, and down the street, you know, you'd see people doing donuts in the corner and be like, "Damn, that car sounds good." You know, that's sick.
That's sick. So just in the middle of the day, someone might just rip a donut
Yeah.
on the street.
Well, yeah, like even the kids in the neighborhood, they'll message me because I'll test my car out at the bottom of the street. You know,
Yeah.
they're like, "Fuck, come back out again. Want to get a video?" I'm like, "I can't. Sorry."
That's sick. Yeah, that's wild because I reckon your son's gonna be the exact same because I've seen some videos. He jumps in your car,
Yep.
loves it. Like he hangs to go drifting and stuff. He's probably gonna be worse than you.
He already told me. He said, "Dad, when you're at work, I'm gonna take your car when I learn how to drive it." I'm like, "No, you're not." But,
That's.
I mean, I'm sure
crazy.
you're gonna have the same problem with Saint. You know,
I will. I think.
they're
Yeah.
they're gonna give us a run for our money for sure.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah.
I think you're gonna get a call. "Hey, we have your car going, you know, over
Yeah.
the speed limit."
Do you know what the worst thing is though? My dad was the same. He'd had, he'd lost his license 20 times. He'd had, all crazy sorts of boats, bikes, cars, everything. But he would grill me and yell at me and stuff. And, it wouldn't be till I talked to one of my uncles and they're like, your dad did all the same shit, like blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like with our kids, they'll actually be able to watch our vlogs or watch our Instagram and be like, Dad, look what you were doing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we're like, shit, we can't even lie. Like, it's gonna be pretty crazy.
I think that's what's cool with like making videos. Like people ask me like, "Why do you do YouTube?" You know, and I don't do it. I mean, if it pays off down the road, awesome. It would be awesome to make it a job. I still work a 9 to 5, but that'd be awesome to make that a job. But my main goal is for my son to see down the road and be like, "Yo, look what my dad used to do." You know,
Yeah,
he took his car to Australia and hung out with these boys. You know, like it's awesome to see that. You know,
I think that's it's an awesome thing because, when you're doing YouTube, you consciously make an effort to get the camera, edit, upload, do all this stuff. There's a lot of effort there. And if it was purely just to, if you said, all right, I'm going to do this just so when I'm older I can look back at it, you probably wouldn't do it as much. But because we're trying to do it, get our name out there, get content, hopefully get some brand deals, pay off, whatever it is, you know, we make the effort. But at the same time, it's so cool that I even look at some of my old vlogs where I go back and I'm like, fuck, I forgot about this. Or, oh, what happened to that dude? I haven't spoke, you know what I mean? Like, so imagine in like another 20 years when we're watching it, it'll be so cool to like, you know, watch some of the stuff we're doing, but especially for our kids to be like, you know, I mean, providing that they think what we do is cool.
Well, it's going to be like that older person, you know, when you're like, back in my day. Well, we actually got proof to show it. Back in my day, look, check this out.
I reckon, no, it'll be really cool. In saying that, like, you know, you got some big dreams and aspirations with the family and stuff. You want to get out of the hood, eh? Like,
I want to get out of there, dude.
You're not passionate about that your hometown, like obviously
it's not my hometown.
Isn't it?
No, my dad was younger and his parents bought a house in Richmond, California. We lived there, and when I was in middle school, he tried to get us out of there because that was also a ghetto also. And he moved us to El Sobrante, California. And that's where I went to high school, met a lot of my best friends. And that was a way nicer neighborhood, obviously. My mom's always lived in an apartment complex in El Sobrante, but I've always stayed with my dad. Obviously, my dad always did car stuff. His younger brother, my uncle, he always took me out to go dirt bike riding, you know, go out on the boats. It was always awesome memories, you know, because my dad was always stuck on the cars. And I feel now like I am a version of my dad, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm always stuck on cars. My kid's always like, yo, let's go do this. And I'm like, oh, we got to do this car stuff.
Well, I mean, bro, considering you got a 16-year age gap with your dad is nuts. Like, my dad, what was mine? 89 and he was 1950. Is that 39? No. Yeah? 89? Yeah. Bro, that's crazy. 16-year gap is so close. Like,
yeah, so I was pretty close with my dad, dude. I still am, honestly. But he has my younger brother and sister that he hangs out with all the time now, you know, so keeps him busy. And then my kid loves to go hang out with them also. Yeah. And it reminds me of my grandpa, because my grandpa used to take me to go ride bikes at this certain park, and my dad takes my kid there, so it's pretty cool to see, you know.
No, that's mad. So then, I guess growing up, because how old are you now? Are you same age as me?
I am 32.
Oh, no, you're younger. When did you, like, start going from, say, being a hoodlum, running around smashing tires on the street to going, I might get a sponsor. I might get you've done some cool shit. Like when I've was watching you, you know, you've done all the hooligan stuff, and you know you've gone to all the, like, I've seen the car that, like, you know, to us watching the hooligan stuff, watching at the car compounds and stuff, you know, stuff like that. We're like, oh, how cool would that be to go there? And then, like, I see and you're actually doing it, or some of the drift events, or, you know, going out with like T-Pain and stuff and Hurt and all that. Like, you know, I'd say that's quite serious. Like, that's not just going out for fun anymore. Like, that's leading to a career, exposure, sponsors. Where do you reckon you were when you first time you thought, fuck, if I actually stop being like a little hoodlum on the street and put my mind to this, I might be able to like start doing some proper stuff? Like, where was that?
So back in the day, it's like, say, like 2011 to 2015, I was heavily in the sideshows. All I would look forward to every weekend was if I was at work or I was at school, I'm getting paid, we're getting fresh tires and going to the sideshows. You know? My friend Chaz was funny because he was always like big drifter. So my buddy Austin also. And they were all into drifting. And I was like, screw that. We're going to the sideshows, dude. We're doing donuts. So we would go out there. And then I did an LS Fest event in 2018 or 19. No, 2018. And
Wait, so you already had that?
So I had a yellow one. I had a yellow one, and then I had this, but not to this stage, obviously.
When did you get that?
Shoot.
Even when it was just stock or whatever.
So I had a yellow one. I traded a set of wheels for a yellow bear shell to my buddy Alex. I traded a set of wheels for a bear shell. I got that thing running. It was all motor, learning how to drift it, and then we put a blower on it, put a Vortex supercharger on it, and just started going from there. And then we seen this one up for sale. It was already caged and had a rear-mounted radiator, so I was like, let's do it. You know, I want to put a rear-mounted radiator. Yeah. Back then, I thought it would be cool to have a fully built drift car. I mean, obviously, till now, you're like, damn, something's always breaking on this thing. You know, yeah. Simple was better back at the time.
It's a double-edged sword. Like, when you got that extra handling, the extra safety, the extra power. You've also got, like, you know, you look at people going out in a $10,000 beater and it just goes all day.
Like the VT, you know, the VT was going all day. It towed my car there, it went.
He had
all
his
day.
first proper VT experience in Australia. He went and brought a VT with a tow bar, towed the drift car there perfectly, no problem, and then it went all day in a rally track, and he was quite. I think they're a Buick motor, aren't they? Are they?
I think the Buick has the same motor. It's like a V6 motor.
It's
But we
3.8
also
litre.
got like it's called a Buick Regal GS, and they came with that motor but supercharged.
Yeah, so we got the L67 that comes.
Okay.
So you could get the VT Calais came with the supercharged one sometimes, and then the VT S pack. So that was like the it looked like an SS, but it was a 6 with a supercharger on it.
Got it.
And that, but there was some without the supercharger. But the L67s, I never see them around. Like they're one of those weird engines you wouldn't buy because they're so expensive because they're rare, but they're shit, so you wouldn't spend the money on them. But it was cool when you hear like when I was 18, you were allowed to use them because the V8s got banned. So everyone just started trying to, because you know the high performance thing. So everyone just started trying to get them. But yeah, when you got that, and then you still had the yellow car at the same time.
No, so I got this shell, and what I did was I put both cars in my garage. So the other shell had not a single piece of wiring, no suspension. I transferred everything from the yellow one onto the other one. And my other one was a 06 car. The yellow one was a 04. So 04 came with an LS1 in America. 05, 06 came with LS2. But I've always loved the sound of the LS1 limiters, so I stuck the LS1 computer in the LS2 car.
Oh, like what I did.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's funny as, bro. I swear I'm the only person I've met that's done that.
It's funny because Josh was telling me about that the other
That
day.
is
He's like,
so
Troy did that
crazy.
too." Yeah.
Bro, that is, and you know what's funny? I was so dumb that I took my car to this, like a mechanic that I started using, and he was trying to get everything running for ages and swapping it, pulling the engine in, putting it out, putting it in, putting it out.
As the reluctor wheel was
Yeah,
different.
he's like, and then he finally goes, "Have you changed your reluctor wheel?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "I wish you told me this so long ago." I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, the LS1 limiter sounds just so much better than the LS2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd swapped it all back over, and then we did like, I was working with Battle Arrow for a while to come up with the wide body stuff. We came up with like the first stage, and it was all right. It was like half fenders, and then we finally did the full blown over fenders that were fiberglass, you know.
Yeah.
And then
So under that, your guard's just cut out. It's just cut.
yeah, it's cut. It's super ugly. So if it ever blows out, it looks like crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks good though when they're on.
Yeah. When they're on, it looks good. So we used to go to the sideshows back in the day. Went to LS Fest.
In the yellow car?
No, this car.
Yep.
It was
Okay.
like the grayish blue color. It was
Yep.
like was something gray.
It would've been
was
pretty
called Cyclone
fresh.
Gray or something.
Yeah.
Took it to LS Fest, and then they were like, some email came up. It was like, "Do you want to do a Hoonigan challenge?" And I was like, "Yeah, screw it, we'll do it." Went out there, and like my first time with the rear mounted radiator, so I just had a stock water pump running it, which was not enough cooling for it. Went out there, completely thrashed the car, and they're like, "Yo, we need you to do something with us," you know. And I met Zach. I met Zach first. Zach was super cool. Even to this day, is one of my good boys. And then met Hurt, Brian Scotto, and all them. And little by little kept doing more stuff. I did SEMA with them that year.
And were you vlogging at this stage, or did they
Not
get
at
you
all.
into vlogging more? Like
Not at all. They were telling me, they were like, "Yo, dude, we see you do the street stuff. If you want to come around, sorry, but you have to let that go." And it was a tough one. I was still here and there, still messing around on the streets. But it was a tough one to let go. And it made sense down the road, obviously, because you're putting their company on the line, you know. If they want to promote you, they really can't until you let that stuff go, because...
I can definitely relate. Even just like, you know, you got my best friend and business partner, Adrian Portelli, who's like billionaire tech giant. And then it's like, oh, who's his mate? Oh, this dude that goes around and does burnouts on the street. Like, you know, and like, it's all fun and games. But at the end of the day, when you are trying to close brand deals and have a better image, the amount of people that froth the street skids is like, you know, 10%. Like 90% of people think, he's an idiot, this is annoying, like, you know. So I can definitely relate to like, and it sucks because, I don't know, people are going to hate me for saying this, but just street skids are so much cooler to watch than like...
It is, as much as I can't condone it anymore.
Yeah, I can't condone it.
It's awesome, dude. It's awesome, not destroying people's other property, obviously, but having your own fun with your own car, you know. It's a different adrenaline for sure. Completely different. As much as the legit events, how fun they are, the street stuff is completely different.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like you're doing really anything wrong because you're just destroying your own car.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunately, it's the people that are well out of their, I don't know, comfort zone, and they just go full send. They might have a full car and hurt someone, or you know, they do it in dumb places around traffic, or they go up a footpath and run someone over, and they're just, you know, when we'll go into an industrial estate that's empty at like 1 a.m. like you said, and you know, whatever, if you hit something, you'll smash a gutter and smash your car before you smash anything else. So but that's funny, because around the same time I started following you, and that must have been when you started sort of focusing on like really trying to grow your. Where did Smokey Bakery come from?
So when you started following me, that's when you had hit me up. And we're like, let's go do some street stuff. And that's when I was at SEMA with Hoonigan, and I was like, this is my first time here. You know, I could probably do something with this. I can't, as much as I want to, I can't. You know, so that's why I told you, I'm like, I can't do it. We still filmed with Seabird, but it was like you said, an industrial estate. So I really knew as long as I don't put anyone's life in danger, I normally don't care. As long as my car doesn't have like crazy branding on it, obviously. But if I'm in an industrial estate and I'm not doing it with just anybody on a bike, you know, I know Seabird can ride. He's mad on a bike.
Yeah, he's a freak.
And that's one of my best friends. So I'm like, you know, if we're going to go out there, he's under the same understanding. If something happens, he knows as well, you know.
Yeah.
So Smokey Bakery came from, we had a different brand back in the day that we were all in cahoots together with our friends. But that, you know, that went a different route. So I came up with a brand that would catch the viewer's attention of the automotive scene, but also in California and America, the marijuana scene's huge. So if I ever wanted to get involved in the marijuana scene, you know, it's there.
Yeah,
So
okay. Yeah.
That's why I was like, Smokey Bakery makes
True.
sense.
Well, it definitely makes sense when every time we've gone out in the car, it's bloody can't even see.
Yeah. Yeah, it rips pretty well until it doesn't.
Yeah, until it doesn't, until I drive it.
Yeah, I tried to let Troy drive it, and it wasn't his fault. It just, we were having problems with the CVs. Even, was it Friday night drifts?
Yeah.
Friday night drifts before Troy got there. Maybe you are the problem, dude. You got there and the car was already broken.
Maybe it's just I knew I was around, and it just.
Last time I was here, you were driving your car and you broke it.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding. Now we'll fix it. We'll get it up and going. We'll let you drive before it goes back.
Yeah, I'm keen to rip it, because it looks, that vortex system. It's unless I'm just not around it, it just doesn't seem popular here in Australia.
Yeah,
but I love it. It sounds crazy. The power's nuts. The response, like the throttle response, looks mental. Like just some of the way you were smashing through gears, and then as soon as you're down on power, just clutch kick, and it's just back up. Like,
yeah, I think it helps as well because that's just forged rods and piston LS3. It still has a stock crank. I think it helps as well that we have a lightweight clutch, a lightweight Mantic clutch. It's like also billet, so it helps with the rotating mass. You know, it helps it rev up a little faster. But yeah, the blower does definitely do some good work.
Yeah,
it's completely different from a Roots blower too. Like, I don't know. You see, my car doesn't get hot when we go out there. We thrash on it.
Nuts.
And we could blow a set, but I'm trying to save it.
Keep the fenders on.
I don't have spare quarter panels.
All right, guys, huge shout out to 2 Savage for jumping on board. They are a major sponsor. This is why I can do this. And if you haven't checked them out yet, these guys make some cracker sunnies. These are actually our collaboration we did for the safety sunnies. But all the other sunnies have got different color lenses, different color frames. They are super, super strong too, like very, very strong. And we do have a discount code, CANDY, and there's a link in the description. Jump on their website, grab yourself a set, support them. They support what we do. That means more vlogs, more podcasts. Nah, you don't want to go too hard. Like, there'll be nothing worse than sending your car all the way here and you're over here on a holiday and you can't use it because it's in the shop.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess back to where we were talking about, like, you know, you started getting off the street and you start getting noticed by Hoonigan, you start hanging out with them, opening up your network, which I think is like one of the most crucial parts when you're trying to get to the top is like, you know, like you said, no ego, you know, opening network, talking to everyone. And then you start, and America, I think, is a little bit different. And I've said this to you before about, I feel like in America, they really value, you know, Australia's very old, you know, for marketing, they'd rather spend on billboards or TV ads and stuff. America's a bit different though. They're happy to like get people out there creating content, Instagrammers, YouTubers, whatever. So, and we've had this discussion before when, you know, I'm spending 100 grand on all these parts. And you're like, have you ever messaged any of these shops to see if they'll jump on board? I'm like, nah, that's a bit weird in Australia. I have lately, and like, you know, Harrop, Haltech, some of those big brands have, which I think is, it's, we're a bit behind in Australia. So I think maybe it will get a bit more like that. But for you getting noticed by these guys, then, you know, you're working full time. What did it look like for you? Were you thinking maybe they'll pay you, maybe they'll give you parts so you don't have to stop spending so much on parts yourself, or like what's the ideal situation for you?
At first, you know, I'm still working. I mean, I'm still, to like I said, to this day, working 9 to 5. But at first, I was like, you know, these guys are massive on YouTube. You know, I seen Ken Block. I've always idolized that guy. So
yeah, I think everyone has.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, it'd be sick to just work with them. You know, so in my head, I'm like getting a job with them. And then until you start to meet it and see all out behind the scenes, I'm like, yeah, it's probably not what I want to get into. But they ended up being awesome friends. They've helped me get a lot of sponsorships. Even to this day, Zach still calls me. He's like, yo, if you need help with YouTube, like, I'll help you. You need to stop being shy. You even told me you need to stop being shy around the camera. Pull that camera out. You know, that's
yeah,
why you're
bro.
here.
Like, as soon as you put your face to it, it's so different. But Zach's a legend. Like, I've never met him, but just through you, we sort of followed each other and talk. And he seems like a really down to earth, like, cool guy. Definitely, he'd be cool to go create some content with. I reckon he makes some cool stuff.
Yeah, Zach's awesome. Even Hurt's still my buddy. You know, he's actually in Melbourne right now, so I've talked to him while he's been out here, and it's been cool the amount of help that they've offered me. And the way I see it is like, dude, I'm just a kid from the hood. You know, it's kind of weird that these people want to work with me, but it's awesome. It's not just.
But at the same time, is that what they are? Are they just like? But they were just kids from the hood too at one stage.
I'm not exactly sure where they both came from, you know, but
they blew up
at the end of the
pretty
day, they are my friends before anything, you know, and and it's awesome. And it's kind of like you. Like, I came here and built a genuine relationship with you, and now we're just gonna make some content, see how it goes.
When you got people in your corner, or you got people you can relate to, or people that you can lean on, or people you can collaborate with, such a big difference. Like, to be honest, like I've said, Shady. And even Trey, I've told him this before, I didn't post on YouTube for like 3-4 years because I just got over it. But then I was like, you know, Shady will come out and he's like, bro, why aren't you vlogging this? Like, you know, I'd be doing whatever, just the stuff that we do, going drifting, doing this, working on the cars. And he's like, bro, and because it was all new to Shady, because he's younger, I think he was maybe 20 or 21 when we started hanging out.
Yeah.
He was like, it made me realize that I'm sort of numb to everything. So, you know, I'm so used to stuff. But then when he was like, oh, that, you know, this, and then having those boys, I'll like pick their brain and be like, oh, but when you're doing YouTube, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? And Trey's really good at editing and and then, you know, having those people you can sort of lean on. And if you've got the right people in your corner, it makes it so much easier.
I think that's what makes it difficult back at home. Because coming here, seeing you guys, and it's awesome to see that, like, the path that you've given Will. Because, obviously, when I first met him, we went out for a drink, me, him, and my buddy Sam Taylor, and he had probably, I wouldn't even say 10,000 followers then, and then seeing how much he's done with it over the last 2 years, it's awesome to see. You know, that's pretty sick.
Crazy when you put it like that. 10,000 followers.
It's 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and now he's at what? He just hit 100K while I've been here.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. It's sick to see how he's grown, and you've given him an awesome path to go through. You know, and it's sick to see the amount of friends that you guys have that are willing to create some content, you know? It's like Australia Day. Australia Day was crazy. Everybody was creating content. No one cares who's making what. You guys are just making your own content. It's awesome. Back home, I feel like everybody likes to gatekeep everything and not want to have the same content. So they'll go film without you, you know? Or if you're filming...
It's a little bit weird because I feel like Australia typically has like this sort of tall poppy syndrome where, you know, I look at myself creating content and then you'll get all these people think, look at this guy, who does he think he is filming himself? Like, you know, they want to like sort of attack. And whereas I thought over where you are, it'd be a lot more supportive. Like,
nah, I think it's everywhere, man. Somebody just wants to say something, whether it's positive or negative. And I love all the positive feedback. And sometimes I love the negative feedback too, because it's like, okay, dude, you're just bored at your house. You're probably sitting behind a computer or a phone, pissed off because your wife doesn't let you out,
Yeah.
while we're out and it looks like we're having the best time of our life, And sometimes we're having the best time of our life. But at the end of the day, we're making content to share with other people. That's what's crazy. So we're sharing the fun that we're having with other people. So maybe they can go have fun with their friends. We're not doing it like trying to rub it in their face, We're doing it so they can get ideas to go have fun with their friends as well.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's yeah, it's a crazy. It is a bit of a out of the norm thing, content creating, but it's definitely getting more and more popular. Like, you don't look so weird these days when you're walking around with a camera, but
I still feel weird, man. I go out there, and I know you see it because you always tell me, like, dude, I end up going home like, man, I wish I would have filmed more, and I always tell myself this. So I'm like, I gotta film, but I'd hate showing up. Like, I think what you brought me to meet Adrian the first time I came.
and just throwing a camera in people's face.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to think that I'm just trying to use anybody for
Yeah.
clout, Like I said, I'd rather build a genuine relationship with anybody first.
No,
and then as we get comfortable, we end up filming some content, whatnot.
I can appreciate that. I'm very the same if I'm going to meet people. I generally like, which it's a bit easier once you've got your own full-time videographer. They can just sort of sit back and third person or whatever. But it's nothing worse than when you like sort of meet someone and they've got the camera out in your face, like, hey,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you sort of feel like, oh, are you catching up with me to vlog or
Yeah.
like, do you want to?
And remember, you picked me up and myself and Sam Taylor up on the boat, and I asked you, I'm like, yo, can I film on there? Because I didn't know who Adrian was at the time.
Yeah.
You were just like, I'm with my buddy Adrian. I'm like, okay, cool. And then we're hanging out and just filming.
Forgot about
some small
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Another day of me trying to catch fish and not catching fish. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the only person who caught a fish was probably Adrian's missus. That's it.
Yeah.
It was like a little fish.
But yeah, no, that's so. Look, fast forwarding now. I'd say your account's growing quick. You're starting to you've had some big videos pop off, especially that one street drifting.
Yeah.
on a private closed road, and the content's popping off. YouTube's going. You're traveling. You're networking, and then I can see you got some brands on there. Like I see Richmond Tires. You're always pumping them. I'm guessing they're from.
Those are the boys back home. There's a small family business, and those boys always take care of all of the friend group. I wouldn't say just me.
Yeah.
They take care of all of the friend group, and you'll see a lot of the boys running Richmond Tire on their cars.
Is that like Louis and all that?
Louis will be running it. Irvin, Nathan, all like I said, all the boys that drift back home. They make sure to take care of everybody, even our family members. Like if our
That's
family
so cool,
members come
bro.
in, yeah, they're awesome. They're not just friends; they're family to us.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a family business. So Pops, my buddy Kalani, Kiyoki, they're all always there, and they're making sure they take care of everybody.
So what would you say the future holds for Smokey Bakery is in terms of family, living arrangements, career-wise? I mean, yeah, like your 9 to 5 is pretty interesting. I don't know if you...
No, I don't want to talk about it,
That-
but yeah. Yeah, the 9 to 5 is pretty interesting. It's a job that a lot of people would look forward to for a retirement. The way I see it is I'll sit there and I'll go to work, and it's super slow paced. So I'm like, do I want to waste my time working here, And
Yep.
I get it for the average person that wants to retire with a 9 to 5. It'd be cool, but for me, I'm just like, I feel like I'm wasting my time.
You
I
got
could
more
be
potential.
making content or whatnot. And I get offered a lot of stuff to go film with a lot of people, but I'm always at work,
Yeah.
So
You feel like it's I mean, that's what happens in life, doesn't it? You try and that's what it starts as a side hustle, and then the side hustle goes up and up and up, and then starts catching up to your full-time gig, and then you got to make that decision. Do I pull the pin on the full-time work so I can, I feel like my wings are being clipped, you want to go, but then you're sort of held back, and it's like that scary jump where you're safe with the full-time job because you got that pay, you're going to get paid every week, whatever. But then can you go, you can't really go further. So it's like that jump of like, all right, I'm going to risk not getting paid to go further. And that's the same story no matter who I get on here, who I talk to. They have that moment where it's like, it's scary as shit. I had that. And
I feel like I'm at that moment. You even told me, you're not going back to work, dude. Figure it out.
No, you come this far, bro. And like, what you're doing, and not just your content, but I know there's heaps of people that can drift, but like you're a really good driver. It's like,
And I don't do it competitively. I do it for fun. And maybe like my buddy Matt was like, build a Corvette so you can actually learn how to drive, And the Corvette's a different animal from this thing. But maybe I will with the Corvette. I'll probably build it to compete and maybe try it out, you know. But
Yeah.
my goal is to just make content, have fun, obviously promote these companies in a good way, and
Yeah.
you know, eventually, hopefully, it pays off. You know, and to the point where I can move where I'm at and move my family, obviously, out of the hood.
What does payoff look like to you? As in, getting contracted to drive somewhere, or getting sponsorship money, or what does it look like for you to be able to, or content wise, making money from the content, from monetization, like to put the, and I'm asking this because you're in the same position that everyone's in.
Yep.
They don't want to work the 9 to 5, but it's like you taking that scary jump. What's the goal for you where you're like, I'll get enough money to live off, to not worry about the job, and then I'll just keep hustling to grow.
So my goal is to obviously sell merch to support some of the hobbies. Because, like,
Oh,
obviously,
you got sick merch, bro. Like, I've seen the hats, the tees.
some of the merch, we were doing giveaways on cars and sell some of the merch to pay off for me coming down here. Because I shipped the car down here myself, you know.
Yeah.
That was all out of pocket, and it wasn't too cheap.
Fuck, we probably could, now I think about it, we probably could have put the feelers out to get some companies to chip in, because that was, your car's made some pretty cool appearances, even at Summer Nats and shit.
Yeah, it's been fun. So my goal is to hopefully get the YouTube to where I'm making something back, rather than, because right now I'm spending. Everybody thinks I back home, they're like, oh, he's got money. No, I don't have money. I spend it all back either in content or the cars to make content. You know. So at the end of the day, I'm just living just like everybody else, and it feels like I'm not.
Yeah.
But I'm living like paycheck to paycheck like everybody else, you know. And sometimes it is discouraging. It's like, I'm spending all this money. Is it going to be worth it in the end? I don't know. But I feel like it'll be worth it if you push yourself to make it worth it, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And it's hard. And there's 99% of the people throwing the towel. And then the 1% that you always hear about and make it, they went through the shit. It was hard. And the other thing, I feel like life has this crazy thing where it gives you no indication of what's around the corner in a good way. Like, one minute you're like, I've had these moments. I remember, like, eye candy, I couldn't get it like off the ground. Then all of a sudden it just went bang and it blew up, and the social block. This is like 10 years ago. And then the next time was like, I was earning like $1,000 or $2,000 a week. And then all of a sudden I made the snorkel and I started earning like 20 grand a week. And then, and that was literally like one day before I wasn't. And then literally like the week later it popped off and it went viral and I was. And I feel like life has this crazy thing where it's like, it's hard to give up. And I've seen like these little memes with dudes digging to like diamonds, and then they give up and they're like, they've been digging for ages, and it's like that. It's like, yeah, you can turn your back, but were you just like 1 week away from something popping off, someone reaching out, let's do this, and then through that network, you landed a deal, and it's like those people that made it, they just didn't turn away. They just kept going till that thing popped off. So
that's kind of the way I see it also, because sometimes I tell my girl, I'm like, yo, I'm going to sell all the cars and we're going to move from here. And she's like, you don't want to do that. I know you're not going to be happy. You're going to be miserable. And I'm like, sometimes it sucks because like you see, I'm out here. It's been a month since I've seen my kid.
Yeah,
and I'm going to be here for another month, you know.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It takes a toll on your relationship, you know, and you also tend to second guess, like, is this worth it or not, you know? But like you said, you just don't give up, and I'm pushing myself as hard as I can, obviously not to give up, and just gonna keep doing it and see how it goes. And then luckily for my friends like yourself, Josh, you guys have helped me out dramatically, you know, come out here and make content. Josh has been letting me stay at his house and borrow a car, and Ryan as well. Ryan's been letting me stay at his house. So I think without having friends here, I wouldn't have been able to do it for this long, you know?
No, like, I notice too when I go overseas, I do my content, but if I had locals, it'd be so much better. Like, you wouldn't know about that Australia Day thing we did yesterday. You wouldn't know, like, you need to be like, you'd be going and just doing the public stuff. Like,
yeah, for sure.
So it's but yeah, man, it's awesome. It's been good to watch you grow from, like, a little hoodlum rat bag, ripping the streets to, like, and I feel like too, you talk about, competitive drifting and stuff. I think these days, especially with social media, there's no need to be the best at something. You could still earn more without being the best, if that makes sense. Like, I look at, like, I don't know, I'm not massive in sports, but say like Conor McGregor, he's probably not the best fighter, but he's a really good performer, and people will pay to go watch him because he's so and same as Jake Paul and stuff. Like I feel like same as like creating car content, you know, you don't need to be the best drifter in the world. And there probably is people that are really good drivers that aren't getting as paid as much as people that are doing better content. And, you know, and I see it with, you know, people with ambassadors and stuff. Like I'd rather pay someone that's doing really mad content and maybe they have a quarter of followers of someone that's doing like, you know, big following, but their content's average. Like, you know, it's like, and I feel like that could be, you know, you wouldn't necessarily like, you know, it'd be cool to build a vet, see how hard you can push yourself. Yeah. But also I wouldn't feel like that was ever going to hold you back because like that's such a cool car. And it's like, you know, people are starting to know that car. So it's getting like a rep.
I think that car has gotten as far as it's gotten because it was different, you know, back home. I mean, the Corvettes now are like 240s. Everyone's building a Corvette.
That's
know?
crazy.
Because it's obviously the go-to car.
So expensive, yeah.
It's a go-to car. It's LS is already in it. You know, throw a couple of suspension parts and it's a fast car.
I saw Luke Fink's one, man, and he did that concept headers and fuck, that is cool. But I mean, man, even just to get a rough Corvette here would cost you so much just to get like a C6 or C5.
My buddy Bailey just bought one out here and made it all wide body and whatnot.
Was that a black one?
Yeah, the black
one. Yeah,
that
looks sick.
Yeah, it's.
But that wouldn't have been cheap.
No, it has not been. And he's been getting. He bought a whole other car from the States to bring over for parts, and it's been expensive. But like I said, I feel like this car has gone as far as it's gone because it was different at the time. You know, I think me and Louie were probably the only ones actually drifting the GTOs. Yeah, there was probably like one or two others in our area, but
it's even when I used to when we go to Friday night drifts. You know, everyone's got Jap cars, and then I'd rock up in like my drift GTO. And even though I'm probably one of the average drivers there, people were so rapt to see it out there because.
So you're going against the grain, dude. It's different.
Yeah,
it's
they've
different.
seen, you know, heaps of like, you know, Skylines and stuff going, but then they see like this HSV coupe. And they're like, even though it might not be as powerful, it doesn't handle as well, and I can't drive as good as some of them, they're still like, you'll see when I say, oh, you know, we're going out tonight, we're going to take the GTO out or whatever. It's like, and I feel like that's like what you're saying too. You know, people are excited to see something different.
Not only that, whenever this car comes out, we thrash it. I mean, especially if we're at home, we'll blow the rear set off. You know, we'll catch it on fire, and it comes back clean the next event. Like it's always presentable. It's not just
it is. It's not a pig.
Yeah, it's not.
I was surprised when I saw it at Summer Nats for the first time. Yeah. I was like, holy shit.
And that's not like at its best state. The back end's still all twisted and whatnot, you know, from the last time. But it looks presentable. It doesn't look too bad, you know.
It does. You've done well. What's the next car event?
The next car event, I think we're going to go
to... Burnout Masters?
Yeah, I think we're going to go to Sydney for... I think it's called Burnout Masters.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's cool, bro. Like, there's not many drift cars that go in the pad. Like, you did Summer Nats, had the whole rear end on fire. Yeah. Just sent it.
You were in the car.
Yeah, that was sick. Bro,
you were like, go first through third, but it was like low on PSI, and we couldn't get it to just blow tires at the beginning, you know?
Yeah, I always underestimate the pads get so grippy because of all the rubber.
Yeah.
Like, if you were the first skid, it would have been perfect, but I think because the rubber just sort of swung you, like, you really had to, like, clutch kick it again. And
it was fun, though. It was an experience for sure. Like, we got to send the car out here. We got to burn some rubber on the actual pad, you know? We got to burn some rubber on, what was it? That main street.
Yeah, tough street, and you know,
it was a fun experience. Last time I came with no car, and I think I'll come again next year. You know, especially if the boys are going, I'll probably come again next year.
Oh, bro, you've done, you know, Summer Nats, Friday night drifts, TC Nats at Oz Day.
TC Nats, yeah.
Then you got Burnout Masters. Yep. I'm sure you have like another morning sesh. You got Power Cruise. So.
And the car will probably stay here for until as long as Josh kicks it out. So
you've entered more events than I have in 10 weeks than I have in the last 2 years, I reckon.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You've been busy though, man. So you know you can't be too mad at that.
Yeah, it is. I'm all over the place. It's but it's what we do, you know. Same thing, bro. I'm just trying to go hard wherever I can, make it happen.
And it's motivation too. Like last time I was here, you guys let me stay at your old house. You know that was awesome because I waking up every morning like. This could be me.
Yeah.
This could be me, you know. And even just seeing how far you've grown over the years, you know, since 2018 since I've talked to you.
I was living in an apartment that was 90 square.
And I still remember when you posted and you bought the other house with Anita.
This actually, I think this podcast room and garage is the same size as my house.
Oh, really?
In 2018.
So yeah, I still remember when you posted when you bought the other house, Danita, and then I remember you buying this one. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm moving. I'm like, damn, dude, that's so sick.
No, it's sick, bro. As soon as I saw the garages and I just
Yeah.
picture the podcast room, I'm like, yeah, I can level up. I can start a podcast, start a little home studio, edit, just grind, put my head down.
Yeah.
It's been sick. Well, thanks for jumping on, bro. That was
Yes,
sick.
sir.
I feel like, yeah, some of the stuff you've done and even just how wild it is over there. It's good to actually, you know, people just see Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and they're like, oh yeah, Kelly's like, you know, not saying that Kelly's bad, but there's definitely two sides to it.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
you
don't get
know.
me wrong. California has some of the nicest scenic drives. You know.
Oh, even just some of the places to go to, some of the food, some of the like, you know, it's beautiful. And I'm hanging to get back there, but definitely, I can see with some of the stories why you're so dedicated to grind and just like get out of the hood and you know set up your family with a new life.
Yeah,
would you ever move here?
I think I would retire either here or in Maui.
Yeah, okay. Wait, where's Maui? Is that
Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh.
My buddy Corey lives in Hawaii, and we always go there to hang out with him. And it's
It's just a
super
vibe.
nice, slow paced.
Yeah.
It reminds me of this, bro. It reminds me of
Yeah.
this. Except there, you can have cool cars and drive them on the street.
Yeah.
But it's still America.
Yeah, true. That's one thing that'll do your head in here.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep hustling, grinding. You know, my dad's like 49 now, and he's still out hustling, buying and selling cars, and
yeah.
he's always working on something if he's not with the kids. And you know, it's obviously motivation and being around people that are motivating me. You know.
No, that's sick. Legend, bro. All right. There you go. That was an hour. That didn't feel like it.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it at all.
Thanks, bro. That was
sir.
sick. Cheers, bro.
Ep15 edition card. Let me see some skits. Smoke tires, not drugs, what we teach the kids. I can't even destroy that rapper. Middle finger to the sky, scream fuck. Rap the big cops trying to get me going state to state. Blowing tires off the rim, let them haters hate. ECM label, getting major paper, get your rap.